So guys, I film all these tutorials myself, and you guys want to know how I keep the camera in focus? I actually put this broom right here on the chair. I go over to the camera, and then I adjust the focus. Bam, I'm in focus. I have a friend, his name is Colton. Colton lives out in the Midwest, and he has a really dope Instagram profile. You can check him out right here. He just graduated college. He's been doing film production for a while, but he's just getting into After Effects. And the thing that I really like about him and respect about him is that he just goes into things. It's confidence. Learning software that can be as intimidating as After Effects is all about having confidence and just going right in. And you're going to see in this video that he made that he did a really good job on this effect.
I'm from the zoo. The city never sleeps. Me so wild in the zoo. Got banana clips for acting monkey in the zoo. Ain't no telling what them snakes and lions gon' do. I'm from the zoo.
So we made this tutorial. It's incredible. Colton, the floor is yours.
Yo, Josh, thank you for the dope intro, man. What's up, everyone? I'm super excited to get into today's tutorial, mainly just because there's so many techniques that we're going to be using that you'll be able to implement into your future projects and take them to the next level.
All right, two things real quick before we continue. Number one, we kind of had some issues getting a good mic for this tutorial, but bear with us. We're going to give you a free project file so that you can follow along down in the description, which is awesome. And guys, trust me, stick through this. This tutorial is pretty cool.
Okay, so we're in After Effects now, and if you downloaded the project file, you should have everything that you need to follow along. Before we get started, I just want to say that the Fire Particles asset that we're going to be using is from Envato Elements. Yes, I am subscribed, and yes, I use it every single day, just like Josh talks about. To find this particular asset, I just typed in Fire Particles, went down to stock video, and out of all these options, I thought that this pack was the best. You only get one clip in the download, but if you download this pack from Envato Elements, I believe there's 5 or 6 different overlays. And yeah, it's super easy. It tells you whether or not the alpha channel is there, which is amazing because then you don't have to separate your element or your asset from the background, and it will save you a ton of time. One last thing, in order to complete the tutorial, you need to download the Sabre After Effects plugin. It's by Video Copilot, it's 100% free, and the download buttons are right here. The possibilities with this plugin are honestly endless, and it's gonna help us create the graphic that we are making today. Once you've checked out Envato Elements and downloaded the Sabre After Effects plugin, we can finally begin. So this clip is actually from a music video shoot I did down in Atlanta, and I want to use this clip to create a boomerang kind of promotion piece for my music video once it has come out. What I want to do is I want to put the song title right here above and behind him, and then I'm going to put the artist's name right here, and then I want to attach like an out now text probably right here on the ground. To get started, we have to track our subject because I want to attach the title to our subject so that it looks like the text is in 3D space. What we're going to do is we're going to type in Mocha AE. Now, Mocha is a tracking plugin that's built into After Effects already, so you'll have it. Yes, you can use the tracker panel here, but I prefer Mocha just because it's a little bit more reliable. So we're gonna click on Mocha here on the left. And if you've never used Mocha before, just a little crash course. This is the Essentials panel. You can go to Classic, Big Picture, or Roto. We're gonna stick with Essentials right now because this is all that we're going to use. All right, so first things we're gonna do here is we're gonna take our circle spline. I don't know why these are called splines, but they are. But we're gonna click on the circle spline here, and I wanna track my subject's head because it doesn't move the entire time, and this is the information that is closest to where I want my text to be. So we're just gonna draw a circle around his head. It's looking good. Another quick tip, if you hold Z and then left click and drag, you can zoom in and out. And then if you hold X, you can use your hand to navigate around your composition. Once we've got it looking the way that we want it to look, we're going to turn on surface track data, and this is just going to help us further specify the information that we want Mocha to pay attention to. And over here we have the track motion options. We're going to choose transform and scale. We're not going to choose rotation because we don't want our text to rotate. Skew and perspective are for a little bit more complex tracks. Right here we can toggle on and off our grid, and basically what the grid is a representation of the surface that Mocha is tracking. So we'll go up here and name our layer head track, and we're at the beginning of our composition. I'm gonna highlight our track that we just made, and we're just gonna track forward. Something that's really nice about Mocha is that it's not super GPU intense, so even if your computer isn't like maxed out with specs, it shouldn't take too long to go through the tracking process. And just like that, it's done. To see if our track is good or not, we can show the grid, and as we scrub, we can see that the grid doesn't move at all, which is exactly what we want. It's locked down there, so that's a good track. We're gonna lock that one in, and now we're going to zoom out here, toggle these off, and we're gonna create a second track. So like I said before, I want to put out now here on the ground. And so normally what I would do is I would take my square spline here and I would track the information where I would want my graphic to be, or whatever I want to attach. I would track that surface. And in this case, for whatever reason, there's not enough information here for Mocha to accurately track it. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this up here, and we're just gonna track the ring of fire instead. Something like that will be fine. And what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna help Mocha out a little bit. We're gonna let Mocha know that the angle of the cement is going that way. This is our foreground and this is our background. So we're going to kind of let Mocha know that that's what's going on, give it a little heads up. Additionally, we'll do that with our surface area. Bring this down a little bit. Something like that. And then again, we'll kind of stretch this box and let Mocha know. As you can see, the grid is attached to the blue box, so the more we can align that with the concrete to start, the better Mocha will be at tracking the scene the way that we want it to. Lastly, what we're gonna do is we're gonna select transform, scale, rotation, skew, and perspective. And this is a more complex track because once we get towards the beginning of our clip, the corners of our track are probably gonna be off the screen. And so we need to select all of these so that Mocha realizes that this is more of a 3D space that we're coming in and out of. So we're gonna track forwards. Let Mocha do its thing. So it's looking pretty good. There's a little bit of a jitter here at the end because of our spotlight, but we're gonna just move past that. You guys can keep trying and adjusting to try and get a perfect track, but for the sake of the tutorial and time, we're just gonna keep moving forward here. So you go back all the way to your little green arrow down here at the bottom. That's a keyframe, and we're just gonna track backwards now. Okay, once that is done, we're gonna go up here and name this ground track. And we'll lock that in. So now we have our 2 tracks here. Just toggle those off for now. We're gonna click save, and then file, exit. Back in After Effects, we're gonna go to layer, new, null object, and right click, rename to ground track. And what we're gonna do, click on our main clip here, go down to tracking data, create track data, and we're gonna do ground track. Make sure this little gear icon is toggled. Okay, now it just created our tracking data for the ground track. What we're gonna do is we're gonna click transform, and then we're gonna export this data to our ground track null object. Apply, and then you'll know it worked because you'll see all of the keyframes that it created on the null object. Now we're going to do this again. We're going to go to layer, new, null object, rename this to head track. Go to our main clip, create track data, but for the head this time. New data, transform, head track, apply. And there's our keyframes. Perfect. Put this up here. Okay, so from here, we're going to create our text layers. So Control T is the shortcut for your text tool. And we're going to type in Zoo Atlanta. It's looking good. Let's actually make this 400. Change that right there. Okay, and again, for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just kind of gonna eyeball it here, but I think that looks good. And so there's our Zoo Atlanta. Now, all we have to do in order to attach the Zoo Atlanta to our composition as if it were in 3D space is we just take this pick whip right here, is what it's called, and we're going to attach it to our head track. Also, just make sure that your playhead is at the beginning of your timeline. And now, Zoo Atlanta is stuck perfectly into our composition. Yes, we'll have to eventually put it behind him, but that's coming. So next we will do Control T again, and we'll type in the artist's name. Shout out to my boy, Olufemii. Probably put this at like 250. Yeah, probably like 150 actually. Ooh, even smaller. We'll go 125. It's looking good. We'll do probably put it around there. It looks good. Now I want to do the exact same thing. I want to track. I want to attach this Olufemii text directly to the composition. So we're going to use that head track again, and now Olufemii is also stuck in our composition. Perfect. Okay, and then lastly, we're gonna go to where we would want our out now text, and we're gonna Control T again, out now. And the reason I'm putting Zoo under Atlanta is because I want to keep everything vertical for Instagram, and same with this out now. I want everything to be vertical so that it stays within our narrow Instagram vertical video. Looks good. Probably put this at 250 now. something like that. So normally we would attach our out now to our ground track right away, but we're not going to do that, and you'll see why here in a minute. So we have our out now text, and what we're actually going to do is we're going to go to transform here. We don't want this at the bottom of our composition. I'll explain in a minute. So you're going to right click on position and reset so that it's in the perfect center. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hide out now, You Go Mercy, and Zoo Atlanta, and let's actually group these together. For organizational sake, we'll change these to probably orange, because eventually those texts will be on fire. Our ground tracks can stay red. Now it's time for the fun part. We're going to create our saber effects. So click down here in your timeline panel. We're going to go to layer, new, solid. And we're going to name this Saber Zoo Atlanta. Hit OK. It's going to give us our solid here. We drag this to the top. What we're going to do, go under your effects and presets panel, type in Saber, just drag it on here. Once it loads, it'll come up like this, and you'll see literally a blue saber. Now on the left side here, you have an insane amount of options and customizability, so it can definitely be overwhelming. But I'm just going to show you the settings that I use to get the look that I wanted. But definitely feel free to manipulate any of the settings to your liking. So what we're going to do first is go down to our render settings and composite settings. I'm going to change this to transparent. So now our background is transparent. Next, we're going to go to at the top preset. I'm going to change this to fire. And then that'll change our saber to fire. Now, next we're going to go to customize core. What's really cool about the Saber plugin is that you can apply it to layer masks and text layers. And what we've already done is we've already created our text layers here. So we're going to click text layer. We're going to go down to Zoo Atlanta, because that's the text that we want Saber to be applied to. And yeah, that's already looking really dope. And I'm just going to walk through all the different settings I changed to make it look the way that I want it to look. So the glow intensity I left at 36. Glow spread I put at 0.19. The glow bias I put at 0.48. And the core size I put to 5. So you can see those changes now. And then we're going to go down to customize core, halo size, or halo intensity, sorry. And I put that at 250%. And then halo size I put at 400%. It's looking good. And then next went to distortion, core distortion, and 20 is way too much for me, so I decided to go with 10. So that's looking really, really good, exactly the way I want it. And now what we gotta do is just go through that whole process with the You Go Mercy, the artist name, and then the out now. Look at that. All right, done with those. Now we'll make our saber layers. We'll just make them blue for now. And now we're going to attach the out now to the ground. And what we're going to do is go to where we want to attach it. We're going to toggle on this little 3D little box thing, and if you don't see that as an option, just click this toggle switches and modes button, What that is going to allow us to do is transform the out now text, savior text, to make it look like it's on the ground. So we're going to orient it a little bit and reposition it like it's on the ground. Something like that. It's looking good. Now, remember how in the beginning I told you guys that to not put the out now at the bottom of your composition? The reason is because if you do that, then the text gets too close to the edge of the comp, and it will actually cut off the fractal noise and create a straight line. So if you ever get a straight line with fractal noise that's on your effect, it might be because your object is too close to the edge of the composition and it'll cut it off. But yeah, this is looking really good. About there is where I want it. And just like we did earlier, we're gonna take this pick whip, drag it down to our ground track now, and out now is now stuck on the ground. Go to the beginning of our composition. We can actually still see out now, and I actually don't want that. The reason is because I want, when the camera is tracking backwards, I want it to reveal the out now. So we're actually going to bring this down a little bit so that we can't see it completely. It's looking good. And also I want to make it a little bit bigger, so we're just gonna scale it up a bit. Move it down. That's looking solid. So now we have something like this. Actually. So now we got something like this. Look at that. Nice. So once you have all of that looking the way that you want it, the next thing we have to do is take our subject and either mask or rotoscope him out, because we want him to be in front of our To Atlanta title and all that fractal noise. What I did for the original clip is I actually manually went in and created a mask with the pen tool and then went through every single frame and cut him out. That's gonna give you your most accurate and clean looking cutout. But what I did in this case is I actually went into After Effects Beta and used the Rotoscope 2.0 to cut him out. And so I actually did that ahead of time, and in the project file underneath the main clip, you'll see the Fire Text roto clip that I already created. This is a super rough roto and it's not perfect. It's just for the tutorial's sake, but you'll see what it looks like now with the subject cut out. And what we actually have to do with this clip is line it up quickly. Once you've either masked or rotoscoped your subject out, it'll look something like this. And now we're really creating a lot of depth and dimension because now the To Atlanta title is behind our subject. And that's pretty much it. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this to the next level. We're gonna go into our assets. I'm gonna grab this fire particles, bring that all the way to the top. Now this is a 1080 by 1920 clip. But what we're gonna do is just upscale it. Quality isn't too much of a concern just because there's sparks and they're gonna be out of focus anyways. So just click on your layer here above, press S to bring up scale, and I'm gonna bring this to 200. And this is looking good. We got all sorts of sparks going on here, but I want a few more sparks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go Control D. That's gonna duplicate our fire particles, and then I'm gonna type in S, bring this to like 300%, so we get a little bit different shapes and sizes of sparks. And then I'm just gonna pull this clip down a little bit so that the timing of all the different sparks are different. And if we watch it through, we're really creating that atmosphere now with this overlay. It looks like everything's on fire, and these sparks are actually coming from the text itself, which is really dope. So after you've done the fire particles overlay and everything is looking the way you want, we're gonna go into layer, new, adjustment layer, and we're just gonna apply a lumetri color effect to this, and we're just gonna make it way warmer. So what we really want to do is sell the fact that everything is on fire. So we're gonna make our scene much more warm. We're gonna go into our highlights, boost our highlights a little bit here, drop our shadows a little bit, boost those whites. We'll go into our creative, sharpen it a little bit, add some vibrance and a little bit of saturation. And here's before, or here's before, and here's after. Before, after. As you can see, that just helped a ton in just kind of selling the whole idea that everything is on fire. Once you have all of this completed, you are very close to being done. We're going to highlight our main clip at the very bottom, hold shift, and click on our adjustment layer at the top. Once everything is highlighted, you're going to go Control Shift C, and that's going to bring up a pre-composition tab here, and we're going to name our new comp Finished Fire Text Effect. That's looking literally fire. So I've actually already created a composition for Instagram, but if you don't know how to do that, you go up into composition, new composition, you would type in the width for 1080, yep, and then 1350, 1350, that's the 4:5 Instagram ratio for video, and in this case, I wanted the duration to be 4 seconds because we're actually going to create a boomerang out of this, like I said in the very beginning. So you would click OK, and then we're going to Control Paste our composition into this new comp. What we got to do is bring up the scale, drag our clip over here. Okay, the very last thing that we have to do is, so we're gonna click on our layer here, and we're gonna go Control D, and that's gonna duplicate our layer. We're gonna drag it over, and we want this to be a boomerang. So we're gonna right click on our duplicate layer. We're gonna go to time reverse. And now, when we play it through, boom, you got this dope boomerang. That's pretty much it. All you'd have to do now is just add to render queue and then export it to the settings that you like. What I did is I actually brought it into Premiere after exporting and put music underneath and sound effects to kind of further sell the illusion that everything's on fire. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you didn't pull out too much hair or your computer didn't melt during all of this. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I'm from the zoo, the city never sleeps, we so wild in the zoo. Dropping in the clip for acting monkey in the zoo. Ain't no telling what them snakes and lions gon' do. I'm from the zoo.
Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. I actually have 2 additional videos that you've got to watch. And remember to get your free month of Envato Elements by clicking the link below in the description. And lastly, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And as always, remember to keep it chill.